Hello there. Today I'm taking a look at a wine that I actually don't know very much about, so this could be quite a short video. The wine is made by a quite well-known winemaking couple from Burgundy. So this is Domaine Anne Gros and Jean-Paul Tollot. The wine is La Vermentino. It's a white wine. Vermentino is the grape variety. It's 2020 vintage. And this is a domain that's been run since I believe about 2008, although I've seen the date 2006 as well, so I don't know at which stage the domain was purchased and which stage they started making wine, but somewhere around the sort of the mid to later 2000s. This domain in Cazelles, in one of the prime areas of the Minervois, was purchased by the couple to produce some really high quality wine from some of the fantastic vineyards that they were able to buy that belonged to the domain. The wine it's an IGP from the Hérault, but specifically it's a Cotes du Brian, or I'm guessing Brian, sorry, my penchant for Monty Python makes me want to call it Cotes du Brian. And this is an IGP that exists covering the northern part of the Minervois, which allows wine producers to market wines that don't fit the AC regulations. So a variety such as Vermentino or Rolle, as it's sometimes known in this part of France, doesn't come into the Minervois AOC regulations. So to make this wine here, that's what they've chosen to label it under. Like I say, I don't know a lot about the wine. I would assume that we're looking at some reasonable old vines. We're probably looking at some fantastic sites. The region has altitude levels of sort of between about 200 and 500 meters above sea level, so it's relatively cool. The soils tend to be largely limestone based with sort of clay marls. And the sunshine hours are really good. There's reasonable rainfall as well. So good conditions for grape growing. I'd expect from these producers low yields, hand picking, possibly fermentation with ambient yeasts. And for the production of a quality wine, I would think they'd be using techniques such as, we'll see when we taste it if those are borne out, such as sort of skin contact, barrel fermentation and lees aging. I'm assuming this is going to be a wine that's going to have some power and is going to be made to age. So let's have a look at it and see if the wine bears out any of what I've said there. So in terms of the colour, it has a yellow colour, but it's a fairly pale yellow. If I swirl the wine, it does form some tears, but they're slow to form, they're not substantial. The wine is labelled as being 12.5% alcohol, so it's not particularly high from that point of view. So, how about the aromas? Let's see. Gosh, smelling that, I really wasn't sure what to expect, but actually it almost smells like a sort of a rich, dry Riesling, sort of something. It has notes of lime or perhaps quince, maybe top notes of lime flower, sort of almost like an Australian, an Austrian, or perhaps an Alsace Riesling from that point of view. Also there are slightly salty notes, and there are toasty notes, which I'm assuming are pointing to oak. But all in all, a medium intensity of quite complex, interesting, and inviting aromas. So let's have a taste and see what the wine makes, what we make of the wine. There's an underlying rich fruit. There is a sort of a waxy lime note, and then there's a toastiness that I assume is the oak. There's good fresh acidity. There's a citric bite there. The liminess shows, and it's enlivening the fruit. There's also structure. There's quite a sort of a fine tannic structure there, so that would suggest that perhaps the wines had a little bit of skin contact. There's almost a sort of a chalky texture to it. And then there's a very distinct, I mean, it's mouth-watering, but there's a very distinct salinity to the finish. You know, it's very piquant, saline note. Almost leaves the finish sort of with a slightly soapy texture, almost. There's lovely concentration here. This is a really interesting wine. I think with the right food, I can imagine that with goat's cheeses and a salad or something. That would be fantastic. And I think, given its concentration, given its richness, it would be able to age for 4 or 5 years. It's certainly got that sort of concentration. The fact that it's only 12.5% alcohol, you don't taste. The richness is such that I would probably have put in something like sort of 13.5%, 14% alcohol, because it has that rounded, as I say, slightly waxy, slightly soapy note on the finish. But again, there you're still getting that sort of limey freshness and the ongoing notes of salty, saline, sort of savoury notes, and the acidity is staying fresh to the end of the wine. So yes, I think that's a fascinatingly interesting wine, the Vermentino there from Domaine Anne Gros and Jean-Paul Tollot, 2020 vintage in that. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found that interesting. Do please follow us on YouTube. Do please like and share the video. Do also leave your comments. We'd love to hear what you think of the wines, and maybe you want to tell us whether you agree with my suggestions as to how it's made there. But whatever you do, it'd be really nice if you could make the time to perhaps join us for another tasting some stage fairly soon. Bye now.